freaking marathon. Let's go. Ugh. Just a giant breakthrough moment, a transformative journey. I'm excited to share the downloads. Anybody can run a marathon, but most won't. All right, let's get into it. So I'm just gonna jump into the story of how this all happened. You may know me as a dunker, but now I am a rapper using my expression to inspire the world. Right now, I'm a full-time energy coach, which is private coaching, and then I have a small men's group. I'm starting to facilitate workshops. I wanna be on stage. I wanna share my music. I wanna share my content. I wanna act in videos, all these different things. It's all about full expression. So the long story short of who I am is dunking taught me I want to express myself to the max. It taught me my limiting beliefs are just in my head. It taught me limiting beliefs of my potential, and it taught me I want to perform, which led to the camera, which led to rapping, and then the past 5 years as an entrepreneur, the camera, I evolved past that because that taught me I want to be in front of the camera, and helping so many clients and people on camera, I realized I want to help unlock people's most authentic expression. So that's all I do now. Me and my boy Greg, we run a men's group. He's done a marathon in the past, and this run was for him. He has to go back to Bali for a month before he comes back, and this was like his finale of his first chapter living in LA, and it was just something he wanted to do as an initiation for men, because in modern age there's not a lot of initiations as there used to be for men to step up from boyhood to manhood, and this was just a way he can help people in our community do that, and also just something for himself. He's learned from plant medicine and different journeys and all these different modalities of men's work, that movement and breath and meditation and emotions, all of this can come through so many different ways, and running is one of those ways. So it's kind of bringing those ancient teachings into a modern practice that is accessible to anyone. So I was pumped about this. So my training background as a dunker, I felt in my limiting belief that I've trained myself the polar opposite way than a runner. Explosive, short burst, not only from my muscles training to be explosive, but also my mindset. Get under a 400-pound deadlift and just rep it once. It is the opposite of running as long as you can and enduring. So when I started running, I felt that called, and I say started running, even when I was dunking, I would try to run 1 mile and I couldn't even do it straight because I was that in my head. And so the thought of a marathon was so far out of my comprehension, I thought maybe one day, just because it would be such a different version of myself. And then I also want to lean into my gifts. I'm like, I am an activator, I am an initiator, I am a burst guy. Do I really want to run a marathon, or is that ego? All these different things. Not only did I not think I was capable, or if I'd ever even attempted, I felt I also trained in a way that is inefficient for this. So I want to just set it up that that's how far away I felt from doing this. So I ran a couple 5Ks in my life. And then one day, running next to my friend named Brooks, he was running a marathon a day for 100 days. That's a totally different story. And running next to him, I was so inspired, I ran 10 miles that day. And I had been running 4 to 5 a couple times every couple weeks, but that was the max I've ever done. Since then, nothing. So Greg is about to run this marathon, and I said to myself, I want to run alongside him as far as I can. I know when someone's doing something inspiring, I'm pulled by that. So we're partners in our men's group. I'm like, let me see what I can do, what I'm capable of. And I had been running these past couple months just for the fun, following this calling, following this expansion of myself, following this way of what's best for my body and just pushing my limits in a new way. And I've gotten up to 4 miles, 5 miles. That was the most I did. And that was already a huge leap from just a couple years ago, barely being able to run 1 mile. So then I started to say to myself, let me see if I can just increase the distance and one day maybe work up to say, you know what, I can run further, a half marathon with a healthy body. I never wanted to push myself past my limits in a way that would hurt my body. So I'm like, let me slowly increase. And I've looked up marathon pacing in the past. I've looked up training programs. I've never followed them. But about 2 weeks ago, I was running and I was about 4 miles in, and I'm like, I can go more. And I found these thoughts about saying, I need to stop because I want to have another big day. But like, why is today not the big day? Why am I saving? And that reminded me of the mindset I had with dunking, where it was, don't postpone your progress. Don't wait for a good day to say, I'm going to break it now. Do your best today. So I did that, and I ran 6.66 miles, specifically that amount because I make my own luck. I don't worry about superstitions. And that was a big breakthrough day because I was about to stop and I'm like, okay, I can run further. And that was only a couple weeks ago. And then this past Sunday, today's Saturday, 2 days ago was the marathon, 4 days before that was Sunday. And I'm like, okay, Greg's running the marathon in about 4 or 5 days, and I want to run one more big time to just get my body primed for this big run, just to see what I'm capable of. So I'm like, I'm going to run 9 because I ran 6, and if I can run 9, then maybe with him I can run a half marathon, my first half marathon. So I go to run 9, and as I'm running it, you can watch more about that post. I wrote about my whole post about the half marathon I ran. But as I'm approaching 6 miles, I'm already saying maybe I should turn back so I can finish at 9. And I'm like, no, I just want to get to this one location. I get there, and when I come back, I broke free. I'm like, I can go further. Let me see how far I can go today. And then there's the dance of how far do I want to go today, because I don't want to push myself way past my limits. I want to just see what I'm capable of today and find that balance. I end up running 13.1 miles. The rain started pouring the last 2 miles, and I was beyond what I thought was possible. Like, oh my God, let's freaking go. Feeling great. So now the marathon's coming, and I have 3 days of rest. I rest the next couple days, and 2 days before the marathon, I believe I ran a little bit just to kind of shake out the lactic acid and shake out any pressure. And then the day before, I did a hot yoga class to just get my tendons and muscles warm without exerting my heart. And then it was marathon day. And now because I ran a half marathon, I said, let me at least break that. And I had this number in my head, if I can run 20 miles. And then there's all the stories of 20 miles you hit a wall, or you need to prep, and all these different things. And Greg's telling me all these things about bandaging his feet, putting vaseline. So what I did was I had a little blister on one of my toes from the half marathon. I bandaged that. I bandaged one other cut I had on the side of my foot. I put vaseline on the goulians, aka the family jewels, because of the chafing. And that was it. I had compression shorts that had pockets in them, so I stacked 4 RX bars and some Pedialyte electrolytes, and that's it. And we're ripping it. And I didn't really know how else to prep, but I know my body well enough where I'm like, okay, it's gonna be about 4 to 5 hours. I know my body can do this. I'm listening to Greg's advice as well as eating, even if you don't feel hungry, just to fuel the body and to give it nutrients so it doesn't go into overdrive or use things you don't have. So it's different. It's a long endurance race, so I'm not trying to just be in peak shape. I'm trying to last. I'm trying to finish. So I don't know how I'm feeling, and my main concerns are as I have tight hip flexors, and from the 13.1, I didn't have knee pain, but I had like knee tendon flare-ups. And those were the two things, my left hip flexor and my knee. I'm like, if those flare up and they feel like tendons, I don't want to pound them and overuse them. And I know I'm super courageous, so I know I can push myself through a lot of pain, but I don't want to push and injure myself. So I was going into this day saying, I'm going to push myself, but I'm going to trust myself that I can do it in time and not going to do it to a point where I hurt myself. So it was a real intention of, I want to push my limits. I want to trust that my body, I can listen to my body close enough where I'm not going to hurt it, but I can push through any doubts and fears and see what I'm capable of and really let go of finishing, because there's something in me that I'm like, I got to do this. I want to complete this. Flipping that on its head, who do I want to be? I go by excitement. I live my life through excitement. So the thought of finishing a marathon, my first ever go, in the same week, 4 days later, as finishing my first ever half marathon with very little prep and being healthy, that was the key. Staying healthy after this whole thing, that lit me up, and that was my main focus, that intention. Healthy, for the fun, like a freak. I am that different breed, but I'm no different than anyone. I just have trained in this way, and I know that I can trust myself, and I have the courage and the balls to go for it. Okay, so the race begins.
Let's go!
Self-initiate. Yeah. So pretty much choose where we feel like we're coming up against blockages, or like this next level of expression that wants to come through, whether it's within our business, our relationships, or even in our physical health. And I like to set these challenges for myself and come in treating it like a ceremony. I've done different things like breath work, plant medicine before, and these powerful modalities to be able to shift the mind and reprogram the subconscious mind. And instead, now I like to use marathons and these movement practices to do exactly the same thing. So I treat these sort of days like a ceremony in a way, where I come in, I set my intention of like, what am I wanting to get out of this? Because of course, our most powerful thing in our life, in our world, is our ability to focus our attention on what we want. There's so many distractions, so many things wanting to pull our energy, and our energy is the most precious resource that we have. So when we can channel it into something and we set a really powerful intention and we keep bringing our mind back to it, automatically life gives us these opportunities to break through, especially when we're in movement.
To be super honest, I ran from my house to our starting point, which was 1.3 miles, and then we took about a 5-minute break to set intentions and ground together as me, Greg, and 2 other friends. and then we took off. So I didn't go 100% straight. And I say that because when I thought of marathon runners, I always wondered, like, are they really running non-freaking stop every step, or are they stopping for 10, 20, 30 minutes at a time? Now I know the answer, I'll tell you mine. So I did stop for about 5 to 10 minutes. Then we started going, but from then on, we did not stop. I took a couple breaks for water because there was a water fountain. I didn't even bring water. I'm stopping at a water fountain to drink. I'm saying less than a minute. I poured a Pedialyte packet in my mouth one time. I ate the RX bars on the run. I didn't even stop. I threw out the trash on the run. I stopped to pee twice. That was it, and I did not stop. It was crazy. You can tell by the pace. Okay, so we're running.
First steps. Let's go.
And we're running a lot, and I'm like, oh my God, this, like, the thoughts of like how far we're going. But because I've done the 13.1 this week, I'm like, I know I can do at least that, but my mind is thinking about my tendons flaring up. That's my only concern, is if I'm gonna hurt myself, and we're going for it. And I'm going slow, and we're just chugging along, okay? So the first 4 to 5, I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy, but we're having fun, we're talking, we're doing the thing. My boy Eric's there, who's just so much energy. We're having fun, people are cheering us on, and we're going. Then we're closing in on the first 13.1, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to run another half. So I'm getting some juice, but I'm feeling the flare up of my hip flexor in the knee, and I'm like, please don't get any worse, please don't get any worse. And that was really rough. About 11 or 12 miles in, there's a fire hydrant on the sidewalk, and I freaking nail it. I hit it with my leg, and my legs are already 11 miles deep, and I'm like, oh my goodness. It hurt so bad, but I was also so sore already from running 11 miles and so numb and so in this zone that I'm like, I don't even know if it hurts, and it was scary because I'm like, is it really bad? Or I just don't even feel it, it's not that bad. I don't know. I just kept running, and I kept joking about it. I'm like, fucking throw another fire hydrant at me. 12 miles in, I just ran into a fucking fire hydrant. Great. Anyway, I crossed the 13.1, and I'm feeling juiced, and I'm so grateful I'm able to do this. I did another half marathon, the first 2 in my life in the same week. I'm like, oh my God, every step from now on is brand new territory. Let's do it. So like I'm saying, I have a little soreness in my hip flexors, a little bit in my knee, but my muscles are feeling good. A lot of it's feeling really good so far. My cardio feels great. What happens? Give me some juice. Give me some juice. Let's go. Another half done. Now let's see. Every step is uncharted territory. Let's freaking go. See what we're capable of. Stretching, baby, stretching. One thing I would tell my former self when I thought of a marathon, when I was running 1 mile at a time, I would be out of breath running a mile. I had no pace whatsoever. And now when it comes to running a marathon, cardio wasn't the thing at all. It was all mental, and it was all about the muscles and the prep and the cramping and the tendons and the strength. Because you can always go slow. It's so much more about just finding your pace and not overdoing your muscles and staying in this balanced state, which is one of the biggest keys I'll get to. So then we get to about 15 miles, and I go dark. After the 13-mile juice of the half marathon, I go dark, and I'm like, this is what people don't see me doing. I go to these depths, they see this bright shining light of positivity, but it's only because I've gone to such fears. I've gone through such depths of what's the worst that can happen. I push through those fears, and I take steps past it. So I tried to capture this with some of my video, but 15 to 16 miles, I was like, this is terrifying. This is hard. We're running away from our destination because we're going to come back. I'm like, what am I going to Uber back? That feels like such a defeat. Am I going to walk back and it's going to take me 3 hours? What if I can't even walk because I hurt something? All of these things, and I'm like, and I still have over 10 miles to go, and I already ran 15, and it took forever. 15 miles in. Am I having fun? I'm going towards fun, but this is hard. And this is the part they don't see, because at 13 I was having fun, because I've been there before. So the reminder is, if you see me having fun in chaos, or it's because I've gone to these dark places, and I've gone to these extremes. So the parts that seem like normal to me are actually way lower than the places I've gone. Makes it way easier to live life. So why do I do this? Thinking to myself, why am I pushing myself through so much pain right now? Through so much mental struggle? It's to make the rest of life better. And I get to see what I'm capable of. Look what I'm doing. Running. More than I ever thought possible. Breaking through these limitations in my mind. And that makes me feel so proud of myself, so incredible. And that's it. That's just a download for now as I go through a tough round. Is it easy? No. You can only take people where you've gone. Any advice I've given you is because I understand what it's like to step into new territory on your own, not being understood, being terrified of hurting yourself, doing too much, being too courageous. So I get it, I understand. And that's where the growth is, to feel the limits, to step into them. And that's where your true power is. You see what you're capable of. And then you realize, oh my goodness, I'm powerful. Ah! And thinking also it's gonna take another 2 hours, I think. It was hard. But I'm like, this is what it takes. If people could see that I do this, it would give them courage, because I didn't feel like I had any prep. I didn't feel like I had anything special. I didn't feel like I was just chugging along, because the last story I posted was me happy, celebrating, give me juice, I'm fired up. But I'm not fired up every single time. I just share when I'm fired up. We make it through that part. We're talking, we're doing different things. By the way, no music. We're chit-chatting a little bit. I'm saying jokes. I'm telling myself that 20 miles is my halfway point. Because when I say that, I can feel it. Be like, you know what? Let's go crazy and say 20 is the halfway point. Just to tell the body you're gonna do that. And if you can really try to sit in that, it's crazy what it does to the body. Be like, whew, we got a long way to go. We got to relax. Instead of saying, almost there, you're like getting tense. One of the biggest insights to doing this is being able to regulate your breath, being able to regulate your nervous system as you're doing this, because the mind goes wild. How much time do we have left? How far do we have to go? How does this hurts, that hurts? All these things. Can you breathe? Can you stay relaxed? Because if you're relaxed in your mind and in your body's going to respond that way. I'm okay. Let's see what we can do. I will rest if I need to. I will take a break. I won't hurt you. Let's see what we can do. And then your body can respond to that. So what's so transformative about this run is staying in that state for an extended period of time changes your biochemistry, changes you at a cellular level, because you're stepping in that trust, and throughout the pain, throughout the doubts, all the fears, all the emotions, you get to make the choice, and you're able to stay centered and present, and doing that step after step consistently without stopping changes a man. Okay, still good? So then I take a quick break for water, and I swear my body would get like a dopamine burst just from like 4 sips of water. And we're at mile 18, and as I'm filming myself saying that, and we're closing in on that 20-mile mark, I get juiced, and I'm like, let's get fucking go. 18.5 in, just getting fucking started. Let's go. And I could feel that juice, and I was so proud of myself to be like, wow, even in this new uncharted scary territory, I can still feel juice, and you could still see this challenge as something I'm excited for. Because you can look at the same challenge and be like, oh my gosh, we have so much further to go. What if I don't finish? You can look at all those things at any time. But when you're feeling that fear, you can look at that challenge with that good energy. It changes the game. 18 to about 22 was hard, because I'm trying to close in on 20. I'm like, just make it to 20. That's gonna be a big morale booster for me. I'm looking at my phone and it's taking forever to get to 20. That's 20. That's a cool 20 for a cool cat. Easy 20. Finish strong. And that's just halfway. Just finally settling in to the halfway point of this endurance feat. 20 was a morale boost. I didn't really have a wall yet. I still felt good. And now the hip flexor in the knee faded, and it's all quads and ankles. It felt like my muscles took over, and the tendons were almost just like so lubricated, and like something changed in my body where I wasn't even feeling those flare up anymore. And that gave me gratitude. I'm like, oh my God, my body feels good. My ankles started to be on fire and like really painful, that it was a little scary, but it didn't get to the point where it hurt worse and worse and worse. It was just like a dull pain that was pretty bad, but I really thought I could push through. But what I was telling myself, which is more important, was if it gets worse, I'm okay to not complete it this time. Because that is the detachment. If you're not able to detach and you're saying, I'm committed to this no matter what, I feel you can push yourself too hard. If you're willing to say, I'm willing to push myself to that edge and do that dance of what is my edge, you can go to that extreme and not overdo it. And that is a balance I've been mastering since my dunk days. And that is the greatest gift you can give to yourself, which is what my intention was with this whole marathon, was to learn myself, trust myself deeper, and refine that art. Because if you can do that, that transcends into all aspects of your life, from your relationships to your business. When you're acting, despite feeling all this fear, and detached from the outcome. Not worrying about the judgment, not worrying about the failure. You have to do your best now, but if you try to do the most now, that's when you overdo it. So it wasn't about me doing the most, it was about me doing my best and not succumbing to fear and doubt, but succumbing to the truth and being okay with if I don't finish it. Okay, so 21-22 was real slow. We listened to one song out of Greg's request. It was my song G Dope, greatest day of all time. I'm listening to that song. I literally am holding my phone as I'm running, and I gave it to Greg to hold because I'm like, I don't want to hold anything because I'm holding it. I'm using like one arm. I'm like, I didn't even have energy to like not pump my arms. We listened to that song and it was the longest song I've ever heard in my life. It felt like it never ended. I'm like, oh my God, there's another verse. I've heard this song thousands of times and I'm like, this is crazy how slow this song is going. It made me realize how slow time was going. So we're running and I'm like, all I have to do is finish now. I got past 20. Now I want to make it super clear that my emotions and my thoughts would go like this no matter what. Like my pain in my ankles and my quads were so sore. When I would run, by the way, and Greg and them were behind me or we got in front of each other, when I would turn to look, I could barely look. I'm running like, oh, everything hurt. Like if I stopped to drink water, everything felt like it was sore, like the most you could ever feel, and I couldn't do anything but just go forwards. It was nuts. And I go back to this wave because I'd be running, I'd have the gratitude of the 20 miles under my belt and feel good, and then I'd be like, holy shit, am I hurting myself? Am I gonna die? What if my heart is overdoing it? Is my heart overdoing? Because I would feel my chest sometimes. So there was immense fear, but then there'd be other times I'm like, let's fucking go. Look how good you're doing, Steve. This is amazing. How far have you come? You're way beyond that, like the territory you've ever been. So nothing changed in my physical body or like the actual results, but my mind and my thoughts and my emotions were just like up and down, up and down. So it was just noticing that and just running. Okay? So then mile 21, 22, I'm like, wow, all I have to do is finish. 22 deep, quantum jumping. I thought one day I might do this. One day I might do it. I don't even know if I could. And then it's already here. It just shows you that you can do anything. Time is just what you make it. Let's freaking ride. Now, weird thoughts kept coming. I'm like, where are we actually going to finish? I want to finish as close to my apartment as I can so I could collapse. How much time do we have? All these different things that were like, don't matter. I was asking Greg, like, is your mileage exactly like mine? I'm like, all these little things. And I started to notice my mind was like trying to get to the destination as fast as possible. Doesn't mean I was trying to run, but all I was thinking about was the destination. I just want to get there. But if I let go of when I get there, I was relaxed. If I said, you know what, if I had to walk for 30 minutes, I'm still at a good pace. I finished a marathon. If I have to jog super slow and get there, I still ran a marathon. And I'm like, oh my God, that's my life. So often in my life, I'm looking at, if I just get to the destination, if I just get there, if I can get there now, I just want to jump. And I don't have to act on that being. I can say, I can get there in time. I can take a 10-second break and just breathe and just feel my breath. I can take some water and I'm still running a marathon. I'm still achieving an incredible feat. It's not about getting there now and getting it over with. I was trying to get it over with. 23 deep, insane, feeling insane, in shock, in awe, in pain, in doubt, and all of it at once. I'm just I'm in limbo. I'm so proud of myself. About 23 miles in, just what I'm able to do. Like not even me, my body. Like what we're capable of doing. And if we listen and we live with joy and you use the principles, it's incredible. Less than 3 miles. Let's go. Come on, baby. Am I in pain? Maybe. Yeah. I'll just go in order of the story. So the last 2 miles, it was just Greg and I, and we're talking about we have to cross the street, we have to press the button for the light to change, we're looking at cars, and we're just in soldier mode. It was so funny. We're making little jokes here and there. I'm like, Greg, this is too easy. We might do 50K instead of the 42K in kilometers. And we're joking around, we're saying little things like that just to keep it light. And then when we're crossing the street and things are getting a little more serious, I'm just like, light, go. We're gonna wait for this car. I'm going after this car. All the language, all the words came down to just the essentials. And I felt like me and him were just on a mission, and it was amazing. And I'm just so grateful that my body's feeling good. I'm like, I'm actually going to do this. 25 miles deep, we're back in Venice.
Let's get it.
Let's go, celebrate now. Baby. Look how far I've come. Look what we can do. Tell your body it's okay. Tell your nervous system you can be here and enjoy, experience. expanding your horizon. Okay, I'm losing my mind. Look at this. 25.7 deep. Finishing strong, running home. Who's got it better than us? The ability to push ourselves, the gratitude, the presence, the awareness. So very proud of myself. I don't even know what this means. It's about taking the step. It's about seeing what you're capable of and then enjoying the new land, the new freedom, the new peace within, the true frequency of bliss. I love you, Steve. And then like the last mile, we split because our apartments are a little different. We both had the same thought. We're just gonna go straight to our own apartments. And the last mile I'm running, and it's less than half a mile. And I notice my mind still saying the same thing, like, can I get there? I just gotta finish. I can almost do it. I'm like, even if I walked now, I walked half a mile out of 26.2, that's still an achievement that is still way beyond I've ever been. And yet my mind still wants to get to the destination and still afraid. That's what it was. My mind was still afraid if I was going to make it there, even though I've gone 25.8 miles. It's like, will I get there? And so I saw that in my life, with my business, with getting clients, with increasing my revenue, with having bigger stages, with making better music, with having more fans, having a bigger audience. Like, will I get there? But I already went this far. You're already there. It was so close that it's like, no matter what happens, even if I had to crawl, I would make it. So it was very illuminating to me to see that thought of the destination is right there, and yet I'm still terrified if I'm gonna make it. So it was weird, and I got to play with that. I'm like, I gotta celebrate now, I did this. And then I crossed the 26.22. I went a little extra for my own magic number, because 226, I don't know, whatever. Just finished 26.2 miles. First time ever. Just ran my first half marathon 4 days ago. It's not about the marathon. It's about trusting yourself. It's about expressing yourself, fully expressing what you know to be true and acting on it, and trusting something beyond yourself, that calling, that inspiration, that joy. Courageous joy, baby. That's what we're all about. I'm so proud of myself. Let's go, Steve. I see you, Steve. I crossed that thing and I'm like, I just ran a marathon. And it's 2 days later and I still am in shock that I really did that for this reason right here, which is I thought to myself after I ran 10 miles, I'm like, maybe one day I'll run one. And I meant that in saying maybe in some future time, and maybe I'll be capable. So 2 big maybes. And then in 1 week's time, I do a half marathon and a full marathon in a healthy body. I feel great. I'm just sore. And I collapse time. And it shows me how well I've been able to train my mind, my body, my connection, my ability to understand my energy and how to push myself on that balancing line, that balancing act of life, and trust myself at such a deep level and lead with such courageous joy that my limits are unbound. And the fact, it reminds me so much of dunking. When I got my first dunk was so transformative because it went from, not only did I think this was impossible, it's possible, and now it blew me open to so many more things. That was this event. And I think, and a big part of it was doing it now, not waiting and training like a crazy man, not doing all the different things with the body I have now. And I had this knowing I could do it and trusting that knowing and doing it my way and doing it when I felt healthy and doing it in a healthy manner with a healthy mindset and coming out healthy is all mind shattering and limiting belief surfacing to say, I can do anything. And the reason why I think anyone can do it is because of what I said at the beginning. I trained a different way. I don't have the best cardio. When I'm running next to people, they're easily more and more cardiovascular shape. It's not about those things. It's about how well you know yourself and how your ability to hold the duality of fear and truth at once. That is the game. And so anybody can do this. If anybody can do anything, it's just your willingness to go for it. And so my willingness was not to finish the marathon. It was about seeing what my next limit was and going to that extra edge and testing myself. And back to the identity, when it got hard, I didn't want to be the person that said I pushed through and just did it. And I was like freaking hospitalized with tendons that ripped and just, I finished a marathon. I'm not that guy. I don't want to be the guy that can push through anything just because they can. I want to be the person that knows themselves so well, that's able to push them and detach, and I finished this marathon because I trusted that energy. So yes, there's the courageous freak in me that says I did it with barely any training, barely skipped so many steps from my first half marathon to 4 days later, just doubling that. And I did it for the fun, to see what I'm capable of, and did it with a positive mindset, and did it for the joy, for the expansion. That's who I want to be. So when it got hard, that's who I said I was becoming. I'm saying, I'm the person that's listening to their body, will stop if I need to, but is it still fun? Am I still positive? Am I still in a good place to do this? Yes, let's frickin' push. So back to story time. When I got home, drank a lot of electrolytes, I made myself a meal of eggs, bread, and avocado and sausage. I think it was just I just wanted to eat real food. And then I went to lay down, and then everybody said, don't lay down, you can rest a little bit, but keep stretching. So I just laid on my floor. I laid in leg positions, because if you just lay down, I felt like everything would just get tight. And one surprising thing was I wasn't more tight where I had less range of motion. Everything hurt. The back, it was so hard to get on the floor. Everything was sore, but I still, when I stretched my quad, I still had the same range. They were super sore, but I thought it would be so tense that I couldn't even bend. But it was really illuminating for me again that I still had the same range, and my body just went through so much. So a couple hours later of just literally laying on the floor stretching, I didn't really do much. I just drank water. I went out to eat again, really hydrating things, a green smoothie, a big plant-based quesadilla thing. And then later that night I ate again. I ate a ton again. I had more, I don't even remember what I ate. I think I had salmon or different things. I just kept eating because I knew my body needed it. I even had ice cream, which I don't love to do, but I just wanted to eat real food. I didn't really have much supplements. That's how I recovered. Oh, it's deep. Energy is all I feel. Energy is all I am. What you're seeing is energy. What you're seeing is yourself. You're welcome. Thank you. So the epiphanies that came, the downloads, one of the biggest ones was when you go to run a marathon, because people have seen others run a marathon, they cheer you on. They said, that's an amazing thing. Go for that. And then when you accomplish it, you get a lot of praise. You say, wow, you're amazing. You're inspiring. How did you do it? All these different things. But I felt almost more insane going for that marathon than I do becoming a rapper or a motivational speaker or a content creator or an actor. Yet I don't get the same encouragement. I do for my friends and close people, but it's not the same, let's freaking go. It's not the same. It's just not the same. And it was just wild to me that I could push my body in what some could see as such an unhealthy way. Yet these other things that are just passion driven and just part of my dream, people get worried and those fears can come into me am I going the right way? Am I doing the right thing? Yet when you're running a marathon, everyone's cheering you on. Even freaking people on the street. They're just let's go. They can just tell we're in the zone. I just want you to know that I'm chasing my dreams. Speaking to you, building a business around my life, becoming the most inspiring man I could possibly come in this life, having the most fun, making the best music, possibly becoming famous, just becoming the best artist I can be. Feels less crazy than that marathon. And the marathon is just one expression of how I see myself expressing my energy. Meaning that's how I believe in myself, that's what I can do, that's how I operate, and it allows me to do that. So if you see that marathon, that's how I want you to see every achievement that I do and how I hold my clients. And that's how I want to hold all of you. Because it's not about the strategy. It's not about the prep. I didn't even do that. And other people may other modalities, but it's about knowing yourself so well. If you need strategy and that's how you know yourself, that's your way. But all of it is just a permission slip to see what you're capable of. And that's my way of doing it. And if you know your way, I want you to see me completing this marathon as me knowing myself and giving myself the permission to do it my way, to push my limits and achieve incredible things. So the same way I did that, I want to do that for my rapping, for my speaking, being on bigger and better stages, to inspiring the world. It's just me knowing what my role is and how I operate at my peak potential. The quantum nature of accomplishing something like this is that I was so accomplished. I felt so grateful that my body can handle it. I didn't collapse. I didn't break something. And I did it. And so I trusted myself and I did it. I was so courageous and I did it. I finished. And I was so filled with gratitude and accomplishment that despite my business going up and down and being afraid of how my entrepreneurial road will go, I changed my frequency at such a drastic level by accomplishing something so difficult that I know my energy is different. I am now a different person after that experience, that will help every aspect of my life, because I truly am grateful that I finished that. So I am filled with gratitude, and that does not stop at other aspects. I am one being. So that gratitude, if that's the greatest frequency you can be in, how good is it for my business that I'm so grateful that I finished that run? How good is it for my next relationships that I meet and the people that I meet that I just finished that? How good do I feel within myself? How much confidence does that give me in myself? Let yourself be pulled by these exciting challenges, because they change your energy, and your changed state is good for everything you do. If I told you before this that I'm gonna run a marathon to get more clients, you would be like, what's the marketing strategy? How are you gonna do it? That's not how I operate. This whole time, I'm now finally seeing that I was pulled to do this because of the transformative nature of what it would do for me, the way it broke me open to say, what else is possible? So answer that call. When you feel pulled towards something, just go for it. It was just exciting. And the bigger the transformation, the more doubts and purposelessness your mind comes up with. Why would I do that? Am I gonna hurt my body? I'm supposed to be an explosive person. This is way out of my nature, my comfort zone. And I don't feel like a runner at all. I just see it as the way it pulled me into transformation, changed my entire perception of what's possible. And that's what I live for. So I have no idea what else is calling me or what's next, but it's just the excitement and following that and showing what you're capable of and seeing it. There's nothing better. And I know you have that calling, and you have to just follow that. It doesn't mean when you fail or you don't achieve it, it's not possible. It just means that you need to go towards it. Not knowing how, the first step of when you hear yourself saying, how am I going to do that? That should be a clue for you to take a step. Because just like a marathon, I have no idea what's gonna happen at 15 miles, 17 miles. I have to get there. So that's how I take every step. I was not able to run 13, so I ran 13. Then I knew I could do that, so then I was like, let me see if I can get to 20. And then I was able to just keep going, because I just said, let me see what's next. But I could have kept going, but then you don't need to push yourself all the way to the end. 100 miles, like you don't need to do that. So it's finding your edge and continuing to push that and listen to yourself, listen to your knowing that you can do it.
Now they say I've overstepped, that's immeasurable success. Trismegistus, I'm up next. And I'm done. Put the city on my back. Matter of fact, I put the earth, and they still act unimpressed. Okay, run